Welcome back to the Cabral House Call. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor, and today on our House Call, we're going to follow up with some questions after our last episode on this Training Thursday, talking about how long-distance endurance cardio, not only is it not good for your metabolism and burning body fat, but it's actually been shown now to cause a 7-fold increase in possible cardiovascular disease. So a 7 times increase in possible cardiovascular disease, meaning like heart attacks and early death from heart-based issues. So please do check out that short episode on what I do recommend to do for cardio instead. Okay, let's get into our community questions right away today. So first question is from KKS530. So that's just their email address. And their question is, I'm struggling to find workouts that will help tone my legs and glutes more, especially my inner thighs. I'm very active, but I'm trying to lift more weights and figure out what would be most beneficial. Okay, so essentially, this person is looking for what's the best way to tone their legs, and especially their inner thighs. So it's a really great question, and they are not alone. This is obviously a really common thing amongst both men and women. I do get this question more from women, really trying to tone the thighs themselves, the inner thighs. And what I can tell you is this, that the inner thighs those are the adductor muscles, so the adductor muscles. And it's a very large complex of muscles. It's not just one muscle. And what we're looking at is those muscles get most effectively worked during these exercises. And I'm going to name them. I've named them before, but it's really important because you don't want to just hop on those machines where you're seated and you kind of open the legs and then close the legs, the ab and adductor-based machine. Very ineffective. It's more of like a single joint exercise. It places too much stress on the connective tissue right around the groin and the hips. What I do recommend instead is doing lunges, both forward and backwards and lateral and transverse plane. So lots of lunges. Those are very, very effective. If you have any type of knee issues, you could just do a split lunge or a backwards lunge, which is much easier on those legs. I also recommend squats. I recommend Romanian deadlifts, which hits the hamstrings and those adductor muscles. I also recommend step-ups. And is there one I have not named? No, that is it. It is step-ups, lunges, deadlifts, and squats. All of those muscles are going to most effectively work your glutes and thighs, and you're going to get the absolute best workout from those 4 exercises that you can split up between 2 or 3 exercises per week. And one more thing about this is that those are going to be your most metabolic exercises, because one of the things you have to understand is you're not just looking to tone those leg muscles. Believe me, if you work them, they're going to get toned. What you then need to do is burn the body fat off of the top of them, right? Because you have this muscle tissue, but then it's being covered by a layer of subcutaneous body fat. And that subcutaneous body fat is just basically means under the skin above that muscle, is going to be blocking you from seeing the tone in those muscles. And that is going to be removed from doing these metabolic exercises, sure, but also following a good quality nutrition plan that's meant to help you burn body fat. So hopefully that answers your question. Great question. Keep them coming. All right. Janet C. is up next. Will I burn as many calories lifting weights as I do running? Okay. Interesting question. You know what? What I would say is this. This is going to seem a little backwards, but you're going to burn more calories running, most likely, not in every case, but it's going to be at least equal to, if not greater, running than you will while weightlifting. And the reason is fairly straightforward. One, you're going to be keeping your heart rate up for a longer period of time at a higher rate while you're running. However, you will not burn as many calories or as much body fat over the next 24 hours by running versus weightlifting. So what you're looking for is people like to get on a treadmill or a bike or an elliptical or a free runner or, pick your machine. But they're looking at that calorie readout, which is typically skewed. Like a lot of people think they can burn 800 calories in 60 minutes. Unless you're well over 200 pounds, that's going to be very, very skewed. You're most likely in an hour burning somewhere between 400 and 600 calories, especially if you've been working out for quite a while. What you really need to look at is not the amount of calories burned per workout, but the intensity of that workout, which is going to cause what I call a metabolic deficit, or something that is so intense in the body that the body has to make a shift. It has to then pull itself back into equilibrium, and that's where we get that metabolic burn. So Janet the easy answer is that it's typically more calories burned while doing cardio work like running at that time, but more calories and more body fat burned over a greater period of time, like 24 hours, from the metabolic boost you get when lifting weights, as long as they're not like machine weight. You can't just sit on a machine and do some chest presses and expect to burn a lot of calories. That's not very metabolic. You need to be working your full body. You need to be doing functional exercises like squats and chops and standing cable chest presses and items like that. That's what's going to get that metabolism boosted. So hopefully that answers your question, Janet. And Jean is up next. She is asking, how long can you run far without causing damage? Okay, so this was actually a much longer question, which actually, Jean, it led me to creating the topic for today, so thank you for asking that question. Our last episode was basically talking about microscopic tears and scarring of the heart from doing long-distance cardio. Definitely check out that episode. And then Jean's question was pulled from that. So how long can you run for without causing that damage? Well, I did touch on this. You can absolutely do interval sprints. Somewhere between like 5 and 10 for the workout is a really good number. Somewhere between 20 seconds and 60 seconds. Maybe a little longer, maybe up to 90 seconds. But again, we have to use a little bit of common sense. And when you feel yourself really pushing yourself to the limit, okay, that's not a bad thing. But if you're doing that like 15 times in a workout, well, that can lead to that scarring that we were talking about. And then if we're talking about endurance-based training, like going out for a longer run, what I talked about in the last episode, is that, again, it should not be till full failure, like you're just exhausted afterwards. And for most people, you can really do endurance-based running. Like you can go for a run for 30 to 40 minutes as long as you're a trained runner, meaning like you've been doing this for a few months now, and 30 to 40 minutes for you isn't that bad. And that's probably somewhere around 3 miles for most people. So running a 5K, really not showing anything that's going to cause that heart damage. And the other big thing is that you don't want to be running for the distance spaces for really more than 2 to 3 times per week maximum. So Jean, hopefully that's a pretty straightforward answer, helping you to understand that you should be balancing your resistance-based weight training, like I say, for about at least 2 to 3 times for the week, and then doing 1 or 2 days of cardio so per week. That's a great way to balance your workouts. You do about 5 workouts or so per week, and they only have to be about 30 minutes each. That will get you into the best shape of your life. Give that a shot. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral House Call. Before you go, I wanted to make you aware that as a loyal listener to the Cabral concept, I want to make sure I'm always providing with great real-world usable content and rewarding you with listener-only specials. So for the month of April, my goal is to help you involve more of your family and friends and even coworkers in their quest to lose weight and get well. And I believe there is no better way to do that than through the Dr. Cabral Detox. You lose 5 to 10 pounds in your first 7 days and improve your overall well-being, guaranteed. So this month, I'm going to take $20 off the 14 or 21-day Dr. Cabral Detox so that you can share the 14-day with one friend or family member and the 21-day with 2 friends or family members. It's more motivating to do the detox with someone else, and I know you'll both be happy you did. Come join our Dr. Cabral Detox community and change your body, change your life. To take your $20 off, just enter the promo code APRIL20, all lowercase, at checkout.